Hello Moto GP enthusiasts. Welcome back to ZNGP Today. Marc Márquez reacted strongly to the Grand Prix Commission's decision to ban the front-lowering device at race starts while still allowing the rear device. He believes the change risks creating unstable, chopper-like launches where the front wheel remains airborne until the first braking zone, a situation he calls very dangerous, and one that could increase first corner incidents rather than reduce them. Pecco Bagnaia transformed what looked like a frustrating Friday into a statement of resilience and opportunism. With just over 3 minutes left on the clock after a red flag restart, and forced to run on a 6-lap-old tyre, the reigning champion delivered a lap good enough for 5th place and a direct ticket to Q2. It was a moment that combined technical recovery, mental composure, and sheer determination, the kind of performance that can set the tone for an entire weekend. Jorge Martin's Friday at Assen was a mix of promise and frustration. The Aprilia rider rediscovered speed and confidence after recent struggles, but a late crash denied him a final time attack. He spoke candidly about the extreme heat, the delicate balance of tire management, and the renewed front-end feeling that could prove decisive in the Dutch Grand Prix. Aprilia, meanwhile, reinforced its status as the team to beat, with multiple riders consistently near the top of the timesheets. Don't forget to click subscribe button and the bell icon for MotoGP news update. The regulation was introduced to reduce extreme front-end behavior and prevent start-related crashes, particularly after Johann Zarco's shocking accident in Montmello. But Marquez argues the partial ban may have the opposite effect. By allowing only the rear-lowering device, riders can launch with the front wheel high, then face an unpredictable and abrupt front-wheel recontact, especially in dense first-corner traffic. For me, it's much more dangerous to start with the rear-lowering device than without either. Safety changes that alter bike dynamics at the most critical moment of a race must be tested against real-world scenarios. Riders' experience suggests unintended risks that simulations alone cannot capture. The new regulation removes the front brake booster, front-lowering device, but permits the rear device. That changes the bike's pitch behavior at launch: more rear squat, less front contact, and a delayed, sometimes violent, front-wheel touchdown. In a packed grid, that delayed touchdown can create sudden steering inputs or loss of control when the front finally bites. Marquez likened the sensation to riding a chopper, with the front wheel floating dangerously until braking. Starts are a unique blend of electronics, clutch mapping, rider input, and mechanical setup. Altering one element without compensating elsewhere can shift risk rather than eliminate it, especially when riders are inches apart at 300 km/h. Marquez referenced the 2017 Catalan Grand Prix start, when Danilo Petrucci's Ducati lifted its front end and veered across the grid, nearly causing a catastrophic collision. He warned that similar scenarios could return under the new rules. The Commission's change follows safety debates after Zarco's crash, but riders caution that partial fixes can introduce new hazards. MotoGP's history shows that start devices, while designed to stabilize launches, can create unintended dynamics. Regulators must balance reducing one class of failures against creating another, and rider feedback is essential to avoid trading one danger for another. Beyond safety, the rule reshapes the tactical landscape. Teams that previously relied on front device strategies must rework clutch maps, electronics, and rider technique. Manufacturers with stronger rear device calibration may gain an advantage, while others could struggle with unpredictable launch behavior. Marquez suggested that adaptation speed will determine who benefits most. Start performance is critical in MotoGP, often dictating race position and exposure to first-lap chaos. Any change will ripple through setup choices, qualifying priorities, and rider confidence at the lights. Despite arriving at Assen with back-to-back wins in Hungary and Brno, Marquez tempered expectations. He admitted Assen's high-speed layout and unforgiving runoffs make it one of the most dangerous tracks physically, especially given his shoulder condition. He predicted a finish between 6th and 7th, identifying Bezzecchi, Bagnaia, Di Giannantonio and Acosta as stronger contenders. Marquez's pragmatic tone reflects a shift in his approach, managing risk, acknowledging physical limits, and focusing on consistency rather than bravado. The Commission's decision will be closely scrutinized in the coming rounds. Expect teams to run intensive start simulations and riders to push for clarifications or further tweaks if instability appears in race launches. Regulators should monitor opening lap telemetry and incident patterns. If the partial ban proves problematic, a broader technical fix or a full device prohibition may follow. For now, Marquez's warning adds weight to calls for cautious implementation and rapid review, a reminder that in Moto GP, even well-intentioned safety rules can carry hidden dangers. Bagnaia's late surge was not just about speed, it was about survival. He had been outside the top 10, his session compromised by a misjudged setup change and the absence of a fresh soft tire. Yet when the restart came, he seized the moment, threading together a lap that balanced aggression with control. The GP26 initially felt worse after a setup tweak, leaving Bagnaia uncomfortable with braking and corner entry. 2 exploratory runs later, Ducati reversed course, unlocking sharper turn-in and improved stability. That adjustment gave Bagnaia the confidence to push, even on a tire past its prime. The red flag compressed the session into a high-pressure sprint, but his lap showed how quickly rider and team can recalibrate. It took us 2 runs to figure it out, but then when we made another setup change, things went much better. Iterative problem-solving is the hallmark of Ducati's current program, a willingness to adapt mid-session rather than cling to initial plans. Assen's unusually high track temperatures, over 50 degrees Celsius on the asphalt, created a familiar headache. Bagnaia reported rear-end movement starting as early as lap 2, echoing the instability he faced in Brno. The heat not only destabilizes the rear but also magnifies front-end risk when following another bike, making traffic management critical. The issue is temperature. The tire heats up a lot and then it starts to generate that constant movement. Thermal load is becoming a recurring theme in 2026. Riders and engineers must treat heat as a strategic opponent, adjusting electronics, suspension, and even braking hardware to keep tires in a workable window. Bagnaia knows qualifying is everything. Starting near the front reduces exposure to turbulent air and overheating tires when trapped in traffic. Ducati's engineers will likely prioritize rear stability, cooling strategies, and incremental hardware tweaks, such as the 355mm Brembo disc variant Bagnaia has adopted, to manage braking consistency in extreme conditions. On weekends like this, the race is often decided less by outright pace than by who can keep their tires alive in the heat. Bagnaia's Q2 escape buys him breathing room, but the real battle will be over 25 laps on Sunday. Bagnaia's relationship with Assen runs deep. It was here that he claimed his first Moto3 victory, a memory so significant he tattooed the circuit on his arm. That bond seemed to resurface on Friday, as he spoke of feeling comfortable at the cathedral, even when not fully at ease with the bike. It is a track that rewards precision and flow, qualities Bagnaia has always excelled at when confidence returns. Friday's thriller ended in Bagnaia's favor, but the weekend's narrative is far from settled. Ducati must tame rear instability in extreme heat, and Bagnaia must convert his Q2 lifeline into a front-row start to avoid the chaos of midfield racing. His resilience at Assen shows he can adapt under pressure, but the bigger question is whether Ducati can provide him with a package stable enough to fight the Aprilias and Acosta over full race distance. Expect Saturday to be decisive. Qualifying will determine whether Bagnaia's weekend remains a survival story or evolves into a podium challenge. Martin closed the day 9th fastest, but the result masked stronger underlying pace. His crash at turn 12, one of Assen's fastest corners, came with just 4 minutes left in FP2, robbing him of a chance to improve. He explained that he was deliberately riding conservatively to avoid overheating the rear tire, but the altered weight transfer left him vulnerable. Sliding out, he was fortunate to land on grass rather than gravel, minimizing injury and damage. Assen felt more like a volcano than a racetrack. The incident highlights how riders must constantly juggle aggression with restraint, especially when track temperatures push tires beyond their optimal window. The oppressive heat was Martin's main talking point. He compared conditions unfavorably even to notoriously humid Asian rounds, saying the combination of ambient and bike heat was overwhelming. Managing tire temperatures became critical. Pushing too hard early in a lap risked overheating the rear, while easing off compromised front-end stability. Despite this, a front-end adjustment trialed in FP1 gave him immediate confidence, with sharper feedback and improved lap times. The improved front feel allowed Martin to gauge limits more clearly, a vital step after weeks of uncertainty. He admitted that with this setup, he would have been far more competitive at Brno. Aprilia's collective strength was evident, with all 4 bikes inside the top 6 in FP1 and 3 in the top 4 in FP2. Martin acknowledged Marco Bezzecchi as the standout, describing him as a little above the others, but stressed that Aprilia's depth and shared data give him tools to close the gap. He praised his electronics engineer for tailoring engine maps and braking strategies to his style, noting that electronics are crucial at Assen's flowing layout. "I think we have a chance of fighting for the podium here." Aprilia's ability to field multiple competitive riders simultaneously creates a feedback loop that accelerates development and strengthens race day strategy. Martin tempered expectations, saying he does not yet see himself fighting for victory but believes a podium is realistic. His immediate goals are to translate improved front-end feel into qualifying pace and avoid late-session errors that erase final lap opportunities. He emphasized the importance of electronics refinement, particularly in engine braking and power delivery, to maximize tire life. Assen's fast, flowing character rewards riders who can combine confidence with conservation, and Martin sees this as his path to contention. If Martin maintains his upward trajectory and avoids costly mistakes, Assen could mark a turning point in his season, a return to the sharp end after weeks of frustration. Jorge Martin's Friday at Assen encapsulated Moto GP's fine margins, encouraging speed, improved feel, but undone by a single crash. His reflections on heat, tire management, and setup gains reveal a rider recalibrating his approach after recent struggles. With Aprilia's collective strength and his own renewed confidence, Martin enters the weekend aiming not for the win but for a podium, a realistic target that could reignite his campaign. Jorge Martin's Friday at Assen encapsulated MotoGP's fine margins, encouraging speed, improved feel, but undone by a single crash. His reflections on heat, tire management, and setup gains reveal a rider recalibrating his approach after recent struggles. With Aprilia's collective strength and his own renewed confidence, Martin enters the weekend aiming not for the win but for a podium, a realistic target that could reignite his campaign. Thanks for watching ZNGP Today, and this is your MotoGP news update. And see you next time!